Tonight, on your mainstream media news, a cat who was stuck in a tree for 14 hours was courageously rescued by firefighters today. We'll have the reaction from the firefighters and the owner that the cat was reunited with in this very touching story. Then later, North Vancouver residents were surprised to find black bears roaming around their neighborhood, while South Vancouver residents were surprised that North Vancouver residents were surprised they had black bears. Okay, people, stop the bus for a minute. Is this the kind of news that you want to be listening to day in and day out? I mean, this is the kind of drivel that's served up every night on the mainstream media news. What do they have in common? They're all human interest stories. Stories that appeal to the human being. Stories that appeal to your heart. Stories that make you go, ah, oh, that's terrible. Oh, yeah. Oh, that shouldn't have happened. Oh, that makes me angry. But where's the real news? Why aren't we being told what's really going on in the world today? Have you ever thought about that? Take, for example, the recent bombing in Boston. As you know, there was a marathon in Boston just a few days ago, and a bombing took place. Now, if you watch the mainstream media news on any channel, ABC, CBS, CNN, any of your local stations, they're going to concentrate on the terror, the bloodshed, the innocent victims, the bloodied victims, oh, the rescue efforts by other fellow marathon runners. My God, like, look at the human interest part of this story. Who's responsible? Who are the terrorists? When are we going to bring them to trial? Will any of them tell you about what's really going on? What about the fact that there was bloodhounds, bomb-sniffing bloodhounds, on the scene hours before the bombs ever went off? That there were drills being run before the bombs ever went off? Don't believe me? Well, maybe you'll believe this. Here's a local report from a Boston TV station, Channel 15, with eyewitness reports on the ground talking about just that. This paints a very, very different picture to the media reports you've probably seen. Take a look.
He had just finished the marathon and was walking back to the finish line to meet up with his wife. That's when the explosions started going off. His wife had been sitting in the section where one of the explosions went off, but thankfully she had left her seat to come meet up with him. He says there was just this thick, blinding cloud of white smoke. They all started running. The coach told me, though, this is interesting, before the marathon, he saw bomb-sniffing dogs and bomb spotters on the roofs at the starting line, and it appeared to him there was some sort of active threat before the explosion went off.
At the start line this morning, they had bomb spotters on the roofs of the building, and they had bomb-sniffing dogs coming up and down at the start line. And Melanie said there was bomb-sniffing dogs at the finish line, but they kept making announcements saying to the participants, "Do not worry, this is just a training exercise." Well, evidently, I don't believe they were just having a training exercise. I think they must have known. They must have had some kind of threats or suspicions called in.
Now, Coach Stevenson told me he's run plenty of marathons in D.C. and Chicago, other major metropolitan areas, but he's never seen that many bomb-sniffing dogs for a race. For right now, reporting live in the newsroom, John Zanitas, Local 15 News.
Okay, so having watched that report, now you tell me, why were there bomb-sniffing dogs on the scene hours before the bombs went off? Why were they running drills? Come on, people. Think about this. If somebody called in a bomb scare, which is what some of you may think, then why wasn't the whole area evacuated? Why would they continue to run drills? Why would they have bomb-sniffing dogs on the scene hours before the bombs went off? Somebody knew what was going to happen. Think about it. This is not a random occurrence. And unfortunately, the mainstream media is going to focus on the so-called terrorists that have supposedly caused this, and divert the public's attention from the true cause, the true reason behind these bombings. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to wake up. You need to look at what's going on around you. You need to take notice and stop being apathetic towards everything. People are orchestrating things for a reason. and you need to find out why. You need to get to the truth. I'm Eric, and this has been your wake-up call.